Hello Australia, happy National Science Week. Welcome to Shirty Science Presents, Australia's favourite science shirt. I'm your host Nate Byrne. Now usually you'll find me on your morning breakfast television screens letting you know if you should be wearing a sweater or maybe it's a day for a raincoat. But tonight we are dressing down. It is all about t-shirts because we are dressing up. The importance of science, and we have a very important responsibility tonight. We'll be determining Australia's favourite science shirt. Now, before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are coming to you from today, the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and of course I pay our respects to elders past and present. Let me set the scene for you. 6 weeks ago, Shirty Science searched the country for 8 artists and 8 scientists, and through an elaborate process matched them up all together. Now each pair then began the task of translating the science research into a fun, exciting and engaging science shirt. Now tonight, each shirt design will be pitted against each other. It's a battle royale as only one can be crowned Australia's favourite science shirt. Each scientist and artist pair will have just 60 seconds to convince you of the scientific wonder and creative genius of their shirt design. Now, joining us to help make these very important science shirt decisions are our panel of extremely qualified judges. First up, we have Beck Orpin, a Melbourne creative whose work occupies a space somewhere between illustration, design and craft. Now, Becky has run her studio for over 20 years and has worked with the likes of Facebook, Disney, Google and Uniqlo, as well as authoring and illustrating 4 DIY books and 4 children's titles. Now, her work is colourful, it's graphic, bold, feminine and dreamlike. We are so happy to have you as a judge tonight. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you very much.
Now, next to Becky, we have Dr. Niraj Lau. Now, Nij is a physicist who graduated from the University of Cambridge. He's an avid science communicator and was named one of the ABC's top 5 scientists in 2016. If only I could knock him off. Now, he's received a Celestino Eureka Prize for promoting understanding of science in 2021. He's a kids author, TV presenter, renewable energy expert, and he's currently a visiting fellow at the ANU College of Engineering and the host of the ABC Kids Listen podcast. Imagine this. What a list, Nij. So welcome to you here. I can't wait to get into some of this fun stuff.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, glad to be here.
It's going to be so exciting, especially since our third judge has joined us, Dr. Anisha Patel. Now, she works at the intersection of medical research and commercialisation at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research, WEHI, here in Melbourne. Now, in her free time, Dr. Patel is an artist and exhibits her beautiful work in art galleries to raise awareness about medical research. We could not think of anyone better to help judge our science shirts tonight. Welcome, Anisha.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Oh, we all are, and I think we should all be incredibly excited because we have an incredibly special judge dialing in and joining us digitally tonight. Now, if Australia had, well, a science monarch, this would be her. Dr. Cathy Foley is Australia's 9th Chief Scientist. She's an internationally recognised physicist with major research achievements in superconductors and sensors. Now, Dr. Foley is an inspiration to women in STEM and to me, but those women across the globe. She's committed to tackling gender equality and diversity in science, in the science sector, to embrace the full human potential of all. A very big welcome to you, Dr. Cathy Foley.
Hi, Nate. Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
We are so excited to have you along, and judges, this is going to be an incredibly exciting night. Cathy, what is it that you are waiting to see in these shirts?
Well, I love the idea of science meeting art. We don't have enough of that. And being able to bring this together in this way where you can wear it is amazing because you've got that walking advertisement saying science is not just important, but it's beautiful too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the shirts. So I think it's going to be really hard. So I'm a bit nervous, to be honest.
I am not jealous of your task tonight at all. I just get to be here and be a doofus and to facilitate the whole thing. You lot have the tough job. Nidge, is this your first judging experience?
My first judging experience of science shirts and actually of art generally. So it's a tough gig. It's, it's different to judging anything else really. It's quite subjective, but I agree. It's what a wonderful thing to bring together. I think we can have that conversation way more than we're having now, that cross-pollination between art and science. Really looking forward to seeing what the artists and scientists have done together, what they bring to tonight, and seeing how science can be communicated visually in a way that it's not often communicated. I think it's a really valuable, amazing thing to have in National Science Week, so glad to be here.
Wearing art is something I'm very excited about, and I love my art to be really nerdy whenever I can. Becky, your art, bold, feminine, dreamlike. What are you going to be looking for in the artwork?
I've actually designed a lot of t-shirts in my time as well, so I'm not a t-shirt expert, but as far as that category goes, I've definitely got some experience. So I'm excited to see how the two people work together, the artist and the scientist, and what comes out of that. And I also love messages being accessible, so I'm looking for that kind of accessibility as far as pushing science agendas.
That's awesome. And Anisha, you are literally the scientist and the artist that we've paired, but already mashed into one person. Do you see a problem or a difficulty between getting that science communicated to an artist and back and forth? Or is it something that you think is really easy and something we should all just be doing all the time?
When I design art or when I'm designing experiments, I think what I really enjoy is that blooming of ideas and the trial and error, and we don't appreciate how similar they can be, and even like looking forward to the end process. Because as an artist, when you're thinking about artwork, it's not about thinking the end process, but it's the journey that takes you. And similarly with science, but I'm just looking forward to the ideas that comes together. Yeah.
And as am I. And it's all about the journey. Tonight we are on one heck of a journey. In fact, it's not just us here, of course, that are judging. There's one more very important judge tonight, and that's you, the judges at home. And Maddie, the founder of Shirty Science, is going to help explain to you just how to cast your votes. Hello, Maddie. Look at this. Wow. Hello, Australia's favourite science shirt. This is so exciting.
This is very exciting.
And everyone's going to get involved, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's what we need you all to be a part of tonight. So we will be collecting your shirt votes with a very scientifically rigorous and well-known emoji scale.
Kathy would be proud.
Kathy would be proud. After each scientist and artist reveal and pitch their designs, you will go to polev.com/shirtyscience, as seen on the screen here, and select from one of the following options. Number 1, smiling face with heart eyes. If you think that the shirt design is the best gosh darn science shirt you have ever seen. Slightly smiley face. If you think it's a pretty good science shirt, it's there. And then slightly frowning face. If you don't quite get it, if you don't quite understand what's going on or what's happened. Then our lab rats out the back of the studio will calculate your results with those of the judges here with their clipboards, and we'll do some calculations and announce a winner. Every vote you make puts you in the draw to win a copy of your very own Shirty Science design. Just make sure that you enter your email address at the end of the show. Shall we have a practice run?
Yes, please.
All right. Lab rats out the back. Pictured.
Ethically sourced.
Ethically sourced lab rats out the back, who we are paying an appropriate... No, anyway. So if everyone would like to go to polev.com/shirtyscience, and pictured on your screen right now is a science shirt that is not made or endorsed by Shirty Science.
No, it's a bad science pun.
Yep.
So definitely not.
We are not here about bad science puns. Can you please all let us know what you think about this design?
I'm going to say not my thing.
Yeah, definitely not my thing. Are we getting results through, lab rats? Yes! Right, we've got a thumbs up. Well, that's all I had to do tonight, Nate.
Awesome job, Maddie. You really nailed that.
I'll leave it for you and enjoy.
All right, well, we are going to get on with the business of figuring out Australia's favourite science shirt. So let's get straight into it. Judges, are you ready?
Yeah.
Dr. Foley, ready?
Yep, all ready.
Excellent. All right, let's go and bring on our first science and artist pair up. Dr. Natasha Hurley-Walker is a radio astronomer from Curtin University, WA, who collaborated with Tasmanian graphic designer Beck Adamczewski to create Galactic Blooms shirt design. Natasha and Beck, welcome to the evening. Are you ready to pitch your idea for Australia's favourite science shirt?
Hi, and I think we are.
Okay, excellent. Let's get 60 seconds on the clock. You have exactly 1 minute to pitch your design, and that time starts now.
Hi, I'm Natasha, and I'm a radio astronomer using radio waves to explore the distant universe.
Hi, I'm Beck, and I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, and muralist.
And we created the Galactic Blooms shirt design.
Our design was inspired by Natasha's research and incredible images of radio galaxies, pulsars, and supernovas.
Beck loved the intersection between the unique and striking landscape of the radio observatory and the colourful radio images I create from the vastness of space.
Our design explores the parallels between the explosions of colourful native wildflowers and the blooming galaxies.
We hope that anyone wearing this t-shirt will be inspired by the beauty of our cosmos.
And feel connection to our country and the importance of where we look from and where we look to.
Galactic Blooms should be Australia's favourite science shirt because it celebrates the connection between earth and sky, art and science, the tiniest flowers to the biggest explosions in space.
Oh, and that is time. Well done, you lot. Look at this amazing shirt, Galactic Blooms. Wow, you two did such a wonderful job of the pitch. I'm going to have to just pass straight to the panel. Let's, Nidge, how about you kick off here?
Yeah.
We're talking about some art that shows stuff from the tiniest to the biggest structures in its inspiration.
Totally.
What's your thinking?
Oh, it's a beautiful design. I think something that I'd like to wear. It's striking. It looks cool. I think it makes me ask a question about what it is. For me, the moment when you said it's like both kind of the galaxy and the wildflowers in Perth and in WA, it's just like, oh, there's a moment of awe. You know, it's like, oh, that's really deep and really beautiful. What I'd love to know, love to hear from you a little bit more on is there. Can you walk us through additional science elements from your radio astronomy, from the gleam work and the observatory? How did that feature into that design?
Sure. So one of the things that we observe in radio is the remains of exploded stars. So when a star ends its life, it explodes in this huge, beautiful, wonderful explosion. And in radio waves, that stays around for nearly 1 million years. So when you look at our galaxy in radio, instead of seeing the stars, you're seeing the past of the stars. And depending on the age, they are different colors. So to me, the galaxy looks like this beautiful set of soap bubbles in space. But because at the observatory, we have all of these gorgeous wildflowers that grow through the telescope. Beck and I, we talked about this and we realized there was this really wonderful connection there.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks.
Kathy, I know that these two are going to want to be hearing your thoughts on the design. Does this tick all the boxes for you?
Well, look, I really love it. It's something I would wear, actually. I'm a big T-shirt wearer. It's my weekend wear with a pair of jeans and some desert boots. I'm just curious to know a little bit more about the actual flowers you chose, and did they actually represent different sorts of particular celestial bodies, so that you were sort of a one-to-one correlation, or is it just more design to give the impression?
Well, there were some fantastic images that Natasha sent through when we were collaborating together of the actual flowers that were growing up beneath the observatory. So there's wreath flowers, which as soon as I saw those just reminded me of the images of these amazing galaxies. So we wanted to include those. And then some other images that she had of flowers that I wanted to represent as well. So really just to show that there's lots of different things going on in her images, but also lots of different florals that are really unique to the place in Western Australia.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
fantastic.
Becky,
They're just so beautiful.
Is there enough whimsy in this for you?
There's definitely a lot of whimsy. I really love the delicate nature of it and that sort of double meaning of the flowers together and the connection between those two. I think it's really beautiful. How did you make the artwork? Was it digital, or did you draw, or how did you actually create the artwork?
So it was digital. I started off the computer with sketches and then vectorized those sketches so I could add in this really bright sense of color that we also saw in the radio images as well.
Yeah, it's really successful. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anisha, you're normally sitting more on the health side of things than the astro side of things, certainly radio astronomy. Does this speak to you? Do you automatically get a sense of what this science is talking about?
Look, what I really loved about this is the bringing earth and sky together. I mean, who would have thought that they could come like this? I think I wanted to just, out of curiosity, ask a question to Becky. When you did the composition of the actual image, obviously you would have, got lots of ideas, and I just want to involve how much science was involved in the actual, framing of the entire picture.
I think that it's really strongly based on the images that Natasha showed me of her work. So it's really showing that Milky Way sort of image that's really beautiful and colourful in the images that she's getting from her research. So that was kind of how that tied in, but then with that art side of wanting to represent Western Australia and where they're looking from.
Natasha, Beck, you two have done such a great job. Amazing pitch, even better shirt design. This is a stunner. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hey, best of luck in the competition.
Great, thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Hey, and that means it is time for you to make your vote count. So let us know what you think of the Galactic Blooms design. Go to polev.com/Shirty Science and make your selection. Now, it's not going to stay up for long, so don't wait. Do it now as we bring up our second pairing. And this one is fun. Dr. Adam Frew is an ecologist at the University of Southern Queensland, and together with children book illustrator Sandra Savini, I'm going to get that right, Sandra, you're going to help me, they have created Fun Gus shirt design. Adam and Sandra, welcome. Sandra, I know we practiced this. Your last name again for me?
Sevenini.
There, I've said it 3 times, but I've been awake since 2:45 this morning. It's one of the very difficult things about breakfast television. Adam, Sandra, are you ready to make your pitch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
Despite that it's just below us, we've only identified a fraction of soil biodiversity.
And the soil just below our feet is an amazing world of fungal networks, plants and insects.
I'm Adam, I'm an ecologist.
And I'm Sandra, and I'm an illustrator. And together we've created the Fun Gus shirt design.
The design reflects the interconnected relationships of plants, insects, and a group of fungi called arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi.
And lets us look into the underground world to see the network of plant roots, fungal mycelia, and the grubs that live and feed amongst it. I illustrate in detail and loosely lifelike, so this set the scene for our design, but it did take on a life of its own, though as a face did appear unexpectedly.
The face you can see in the soil is a bit of fun, but it reflects how much we as humans rely on fungi and soil diversity, whether you realise it at first or not.
Oh, Adam, pushing the boundaries there on time. Great work, team. Now, I wonder, are we going to have to look at maybe a disqualification here? Because not only did he go over time, but also there is a pun involved here. Fun Gus. But I tell you what a great looking design. Anisha, we're going to start with you. Cheeky enough?
Look, I love it. I really love it. If I would, if you were walking wearing that, I would definitely ask a question about what that meant. Love the details. Well done. Yep, I really love it.
Do you have any questions at all? You've got to ask Adam something. I mean, he's...
I'm not going to pronounce the name of that fungus.
Go on. Give it to us, Adam. How do you say it?
Arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi.
You were right, Anisha. We're not going to try that. Yes, go on.
And I just wanted to know how widespread it is across Australia.
Well, it's widespread across Australia and widespread globally. And so these are just a group of fungi that were actually really important for the evolution of plants to even come onto land. And so they're actually found around the world. And yeah, they grow into plant roots and they grow into the soil and create these vast networks, basically connecting plants in this way.
Now, Becky, how does this resonate with you from an artistic point of view?
I think it's a really successful design in terms of the way that you've used the t-shirt, like the composition of it, how you've got the really linear top and it's really obvious that there's negative below and the soil underneath. I also really like the way that you've used the white to highlight the fungi. I think that was really clever, and it's actually a really tricky thing to do when the design is almost quite monochrome apart from the green leaves. So I think that's really successful too. I do have a question. Did you intend to put a face in it? Because when I see that, I just see sort of a face in there. Was that intentional?
Not initially, no, but it
Right.
did, as the design evolved, it did grow, and I sat back and looked and thought, my goodness, there's a face there. So I
Yeah.
did end up playing on that.
Yeah, I really love that. I think that's really clever as well.
That is Gus,
Thank
right?
you.
That's the Gus who is so fun, obviously, which is excellent. Kathy, you've got a couple of sons who are artists. How does this stack up? Would this make it to the fridge?
Actually, it would. I really like the detail of so the wormy bits, they're not the fungus. This is showing I'm a physicist and I really don't know what I'm looking at. So I'm asking that question. The fungus is what they're eating in the roots. Is that how that works? And what's the creepy crawly that's there?
Sandra, or who do I?
I'll let you explain, Adam.
Yes, so the insects you're seeing there, they're root feeding insects or grubs, and they feed on the roots of the plants, and then you see the lighter fungal mycelia coming out from the roots. And often what we actually see is that the fungi can help the plant defend itself against the insects. But here we're just trying to highlight the sort of interconnected relationships of different biota, be they antagonistic or mutualist. The great ecology that's below ground.
And is the fungus really the white? Is it really like that? Where
With Zoom at the moment, stand by.
Yes.
Kathy, do we have you back?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes. So sorry, I think there was an audio issue there. Yes. So the fungal mycelia are actually so fine you probably wouldn't be able to see them you can't see them with the naked eye unless you've got a large mass of it. It's that sort of ethereal, I suppose, and often you need to have a microscope to see them.
So wonderful when physicists learn about the squishy stuff. Kathy, I know exactly what you're thinking there. Nidge,
Yeah.
I look at this design and I think straight away, kids would love that.
Yeah,
You think in the way that kids, not that you think like a child.
No,
but you
that's a
think
compliment,
You
mate.
can put your brain into a kid's brain, How cool.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. I think it really looked like you could open a book and that illustration would be there. And I think that, Sandra, that speaks to your background as an illustrator. I had a similar question. I know, Adam, in your research, you talk about how the fungus is beneficial for the life underneath the ground and for the plants above it. I was keen to learn a little bit more. I don't know if you guys are still there, but learn a little bit more about that relationship and if there are any elements in this drawing that draw out that relationship of how lucky we are to have the fungus underneath us.
Let's try Sandra. Did you hear the question? I suspect we might be having a little bit of trouble here at the moment. Team, wave at me if you can hear me.
Maybe there's
okay, we're going to assume that's not the case. That's fine. Look, Adam and Sandra, it's been really great having you. And even if you can't hear me right now, definitely watch us back on the live stream later once it's up on YouTube properly. Thank you so much, Adam and Sandra. Fungus team, maybe if it needs a little bit of a pity boost, for the difficulty there? No, it doesn't, because it stands up on its own. Audience, it is your turn to get involved. What do you think of Fun Gus? I mean, I think he's pretty cool. Make your decisions known. pollev.com/Shirty Science. Now, I'm hoping that we're going to have all of our hiccups sorted out shortly, but let's crack on and give it a go anyway, and welcome our next scientist and artist pair. Deepon Sarkar is a PhD candidate at the University of Tasmania and has worked together with emerging artist Paula Melios from Darwin to create balance. That is a very beautiful name, and I'm hoping to... Oh, we've still got the last two here. Hey, Adam, Sandra, you're done. Well, you're not. You're back, apparently. Yeah, wave goodbye. Hopefully our tech issues are going to be sorted. There they go. Listen, they're gone. Hopefully we're going to be able to see if balance is here and ready. And if it's not, it's okay, because I do have balance here somewhere. Because, I'm also not only your
balanced human
host, but also your a balanced human. Thanks, Nish.
I guess so.
But I'm also your fashion model tonight, and here we are. Both of you, welcome. Sorry about the hiccups there. Are you ready to make your pitch? Use your words just to make me feel comfortable that we've got audio. Make sure you're unmuted. All right, we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock and give this a go. If there's a hiccup, we might restart it. All right, balance. Take it away, you two.
Hi, my name is Deepon, and I am a food microbiologist, and I research in food safety risk analysis.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I'm the artist. Our design is called Balance.
Even though I study bad microbes for my work, I'm really fascinated by the vast diversity of our microbial world and the harmony in which they live with us. The interactions that we have with the microbes around us is critical. They help us in our food, with our health, medicine, ecological balance, yet we remain disproportionately focused on the bad microbes. And this pandemic didn't really do much good with these regards. I was discussing these concepts with Paula when our design started taking shape.
Our design takes us through a microscopic journey, inviting us to view microbes in a new light, full of life and abundance. It highlights their communal nature and tendency to multiply and flourish in balanced harmony. Their vivid representation is made up of bright colours, gestural strokes, and saturated effects and intricate details, enhancing the aspect of generative life, a symbiotic relationship of all organic matter.
Yes! Oh, look at that. 60 seconds and a little half a minute after that. That's fine. Okay, two. Brilliant. Let's go straight to the judges. And Becky, I'm feeling this definitely sits in bold for you.
Yeah, it's definitely really beautiful and colourful, and definitely something close to my heart, all those things, all those beautiful forms. How did you get the information for the forms? Like, was there photos shared, or what was the back and forth? And the colours as well, are they natural, are they unnatural?
So yeah, a lot of back and forth. Deepon shared with me some photos of microbes that he looks at specifically. I obviously gave my own take on that. I'd like to say I'm probably more on the abstract side of things. So yeah, I've had a little flair in there. With the colours, there were some aspects of these bright colours, but I went to town with that as well.
You know, it looks great. I think you did the right thing with that.
Definitely. Kathy, you might not be a biologist, but that's fine. We've all looked down a microscope at some point. Doesn't this look just like the first time you check out some cells and you just think, wow, there is so much
a bit more
going on there.
colourful. I wish it looked like that when I looked down a microscope, but I love the colours, and I also, it almost looks like it's an embroidery. I'm just curious to know, were you sort of trying to get some texture from the way you did that? Because I guess the microbes are always 3D, but when you look at a microscope, sometimes they look quite plainer. So I'm just curious to know, were you trying to capture something in that sort of 3D look? And I mean, I love the colours. It's a beautiful colour palette.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the concept is based around this, tiny little life that's happening underneath the microscope. So I really wanted to make it pop to allow people to kind of get an insight to what goes on, I guess, as a general aspect as well.
Mm. It also looks a little bit like sort of classic Indigenous art design as well. It's were you inspired by that? Fantastic.
I am actually. It is culturally inclusive. I'm an Indigenous woman myself, so that always comes out through the work, no matter what I do.
So that is amazing. That I picked that up. So it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
It's certainly beautiful. And Nij, you would spot this from a mile away coming down the street. It's the right thing to grab some attention.
Yeah,
when it comes to science?
certainly would spot it. It's a really striking image. For me, actually, I could imagine the whole shirt could be that. Like, outside the frame, you maybe don't even need the rectangle. If the whole shirt was that pattern, it'd be amazing. But I mean, it's amazing as it is. The colour's great. It makes me want to ask a question. It's like, it's enough, not pure, like not a traditional Indigenous painting that I've seen before, so it makes me ask the question, what's in there? Dipon, I know some of your research was on, I think it was like listeria in cheese and how that interacts with the microbiota environment. I was wondering if there were any elements of that, or if any of one of those elements in the drawing is listeria. Is there anything you could speak to about that?
Yeah, there's definitely listeria. So all the microbes that I study for my PhD are in there in some shape or form. So there's listeria, there's Bacillus cereus in terms of how they look like, the cell morphology. And of course, like Paula has done her take on it. But yeah, there's the images that I shared were the ones that I took under the microscope and incorporated within there.
Well, thanks.
Anisha, you spend a lot of time at WeHi down a microscope. How do you think this stacks up?
This is obviously much prettier than what I see. So well done on colours. I think I wanted to ask Paula on how much did she learn about these microbes in terms of the names. Obviously Dipon said that all of his work is sort of in this picture. But yeah, it was, I guess for Paula, did it spark curiosity from your side on these microbes?
Oh, absolutely. I learned so much about Dipon's studies in microbiology and the nature of specific bacteria found in cheese. I'm really fascinated, and it's inspired me, to say the least.
That is excellent. You two, what an amazing job. I mean, I'm so fascinated visually, but also my brain just wants to just pick in and see all those tiny little details and figure out exactly what's going on in there. Great work, judges. I am not envious of you in the slightest, nor you at home. It is time for you to get involved. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Dipon. Get on right now, team. Everyone at home, get into polev.com/Shirty Science so you can vote for balance. Stunning design for sure. And this next one I think is going to have you intrigued. Worming into memories. Now, unfortunately, Anna McMillan, PhD, our candidate from Flinders University, couldn't join us this evening. But holding up the entire team with her creative power, collaborator Rachel Roberts from Canberra is going to make sure that you want to get into this worming into memories. Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
Are you ready for the challenge?
I'm here, I'm ready.
Okay, you're here, that'll do. No worries. Well, not only are you here, you have 60 seconds to tell us all about worming into memories, and your time starts now.
Hi, I'm Rachel and I'm an illustrator. I worked with Anna, a neuroscientist, to create the Worming into Memories shirt design. It represents Anna's research, which aims to see how learning and memories are formed. She uses UV light to see what's happening inside the brain cells of microscopic worms. The design places worms inside a human brain, something that we're all familiar with, and visually connects a UV light with the worm brain activity. On the right side, the UV light illuminates a brain that shows worms that are connecting. Here, they are learning or making memories. On the left side, we see a brain that shows unconnected worms. They are not learning or making memories. Since Anna's research may apply to other species, I've added dog ears, fish mouths, and bird beaks. We think our design should win because it's a striking, thought-provoking image that will definitely spark conversation.
And perfect timing. Very, very well done. Now, this is, I think, going to be our first design that's got a little bit of maybe creep factor about it, which I think is pretty cool. Nidge, what do you reckon? Does this scratch the 8-year-old boy still sitting in the back of your head?
Yeah, well done, Rachel. I think it's it's bold to go here. Like, it's a courageous design. It's not immediately, beautiful to look at in the kind of like a traditional kind of sense of beauty, but it's like, oh man, what is going on here? I can see there's some amazing images, amazing pieces of the story. There is a story here, and it makes me want to ask, what is going on? So I love the boldness of it, the courage of it, and it makes me want to ask what's going on. So the worms, I'm like, oh yeah, it's worms, and then it's the brain research, and then I can see the animal elements. So good one. It's striking. It makes me look. It makes me question. Good one. Is there? I wanted to ask, I guess, if you could bring it out. I know your partner's not here, but a little bit about the two different sides of the picture, and a little bit about the science of what the worms are telling us.
I'll do my best on the science part. I guess the most interesting thing to me about this research with microscopic worms is the fact that worms have brain cells at all, to be honest. They have far fewer brain cells than us, but they do actually have them, and they don't have brains like us in our heads. Their brain cells run all the way through their bodies. That's sort of a sciencey part of it. And in terms of the two different sides of the image, I've used a human face and a human brain so that it's something that we all connect with, it resonates with us. It immediately shows that this image is about brains, and that's why I've put the worms inside a human brain. I've used two different faces to try and amplify the message that when we're learning or making memories, we are awake, and you can see that on the right-hand side, and that's where the brains are, the worms and the brain activity is happening. And on the left-hand side, the face is asleep. Learning or memories are not taking place, and the brain cells on that side are not connected.
Cool, thanks.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And I hadn't even really spotted yet that one was awake and one was asleep. Kathy, did you manage to spot that?
No, look, I'm desperate to pull it up and really have a really close study of it. It's fascinating. I'm just curious to know too, you've brought the art, that's it, you said you've got the ears of a dog, and it looks, that's the background bit. Tell me why you went adding that in as well. I just want to understand where that inspiration came from, because you've got the worms, the humans, but then the dog. Why a dog?
Sure. Actually, my understanding of this research is that it may have implications for all people, so it doesn't discriminate in that way, and that's for that reason I've also included some skeleton elements, because we all have a skeleton as well, but it has implications for other species, and that's why I've included hints of other species there as well.
Brilliant. Oh, it's just so thought-provoking.
It certainly is. Becky, how does this sit with you artistically?
I really love it. I love the sort of darker nature of it, like in the presentation, not as far, and the thought that's gone into it. I think it's really beautiful, and it still has a really nice delicacy about it, which I think is really, really great, and intricacy as well. I was interested in, I really loved the mirror image kind of aspect to it, which I think is graphically is really strong. How did you produce the artwork? Is it hand drawn? It looks like you hand rendered it, or that quality to me is really beautiful as well.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's all hand drawn actually. For the faces, I mostly work in pencil. It's just graphite pencil, and the rest is ink pens. and then I put it all together digitally and just enhance the colours digitally. But yes, I draw it all by hand.
Oh, it's really great. Well done.
Yeah, it's also delicate. You can definitely see your hand in this. And Anisha, you're used to lighting stuff up with UV light out at Weehigh, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't, but yeah.
But just generally, it's a very common biological thing to do. Does this grab you?
Look, what grabs me more is the amount of information you can get out of this. And what I'm impressed by, Rachel, is the thought process that went in the composition of the work. And I wanted to know the first, I guess, when you first started working on this, how different is that final work from that initial process?
Actually, it's not very different at all. I found the concept for Anna's, visually representing Anna's research came very easily. And so executing that concept also came very easily and very quickly, actually. It doesn't often happen like that, but happily it did happen in this case.
Rachel, it is so obvious that you two had a good connection and really you got to understand this artwork. Thank you so much for joining us, and well done on holding up the team all by yourself. You've nailed it, and I love this design. Wow, team. It's everyone is so different, and that's what I love about it, because it means that you get to actually get your hands on a t-shirt that you would love to wear. And so it's your turn to show us, do you want to wear this shirt? What are you thinking about worming in memories? You can make your selection on polev.com/shirtyscience. And we are now halfway through our shirt designs. I know, we've got 4 more amazing designs to come. And up next, we have Robin Ladwig, a PhD candidate from the University of Canberra, who worked with activist and artist Safa to create Just Ask. Now, are you ready, Robin and Safa? I really like this design. I think it's going to be a strong one. I'm ready to hear from you two. Are you prepared?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds and go.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm a social scientist.
I'm Safa. I'm an artist, and together we created the playful design Just Ask.
We talked about the influence of language in the workplace and the importance to address people by their correct pronoun. This is part of my research regarding gender diversity at work. So the shirt shall spark curiosity about gender diversity and inclusion. This collaboration reminded us how universal gender diversity is and the importance of celebrating individuality. Our design should be Australians' favourite science shirt because gender equity is for everyone, and everyone can be an ally to normalise pronouns.
And it's an icebreaker. It allows others who are not too sure about pronouns to feel more comfortable about asking respectfully. This was a fun way to engage with a topic that is often misunderstood. Thank you.
Oh, that is wonderful. Even time to spare on the clock. Robin, Safa, what are your pronouns?
They, them.
I use they, them, and she, her interchangeably.
That's cool. I'm a he, him. Nidge, what are your pronouns?
Yeah, he, him. But it's an important conversation that we need to have more. I think we are having it more and more. I like the simplicity of it. You know, you've kind of put it on the box what the shirt's about and what you would like us to do with the questions. I think that's really great. I was keen, Robin, to learn a little bit more about some of the research that you're uncovering into gender diversity and what you're finding, and then what you were communicating to Safa to try to convey with the shirt. What are your findings?
Thank you. Yeah, so my research is specifically about transgender and gender diverse people in the workplace and how are they included and what barriers and enablers they are experiencing throughout their career development. But throughout my research, I also found like this topic is not just about transgender and gender diverse people, it's everybody, because everybody has a gender identity in one way or the other. And it's really important to speak about it and to get to know each other, and especially what pronouns each other is using. but not making it too big fuss about it, because it's not all about gender, it's about your passion in the workplace. So finding the right balance, that's why I also love this design.
It is such an important thing. It's something we're learning more about all the time, gender expression and how people would like to be seen in the world. Dr. Kathy Foley, what are your pronouns?
She, her, and I think it's really interesting that this is doing a couple of things. First of all, from my perspective, it's bringing out the importance of social science as a really important part of science. And if you look at so many of the things we need to do to get research, translation, acceptance, and just society working well, it's when we make sure that social science is a major part of it. So I'm really glad that you've included this. The question I want to ask is, how does the design you've got actually, how did you go about something which is not as visual like a lot of the other things we've seen so far? I've got real visual cues. So you had to use language to turn into the visual, and I'm just curious to know how you approach that.
Well, when I started talking with Robin, we found it challenging. Robin was telling me they found it challenging to find visuals for the research, and for me, I like very colorful things, and for me, gender is quite fluid. It's complex. It's embodied. So I was trying to get all of these things together and try to find something like a fun way to maybe highlight gender and its diversity and the complex ways my community expresses and embodies gender.
Safa, this is definitely colourful, but there's also a bit of darkness in it as well, Becky.
Yeah, I did notice that at the bottom, and yeah, I was going to ask a similar question: is where did you get the images and the ideas for the colours and things like that for? But I also wanted to say I think it's such a great idea. I think a lot of people have a lot of awkwardness around pronouns, and they shouldn't. And I think putting that out there and just saying, just ask, is such a great message to sort of put forward. But yeah, my main question was, yeah, where did the design come from? And yeah, how collaborative was it in visually? Like, did you do lots of back and forth, that kind of thing?
I think the main idea for Robin, that they wanted to have it a little more educational, and I thought the best way to be educational is to be didactic and just say it out loud. For me, I'm a graphic designer by trade. So before I became an artist and before I came to this country, I worked at LiberNet and a lot of international graphic design and advertising agencies. So graphic design is second nature to me, and I don't think much about it. I just have an idea, I put it down, and I work a lot with dots and circles and shapes. And I noticed the darkness in the bottom. I just needed something to center the design to give it a little bit of weight instead of it being like floaty. But yeah, there is a bit of darkness in it. I guess to bring out the color, you need a bit of darkness and gray to view it. Gray is a good color to view color against.
That's intriguing. Becky, your pronouns?
I am she, her.
She, her. And Anisha, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are she and her. I resonated with what Kathy said about bringing social sciences in art, and this is such a great design, and well done to both of you of coming up with an artwork based on the topic, and really important topic. And I can resonate with the multi-layered complexity in the artwork and the topic. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Stunning design. You have both done an incredible job here. Robin, Safa, thank you so much for joining us. Hey, best of luck on winning Australia's favourite science shirt. An incredible job. We'll see you later, perhaps, hopefully, because it is time. Judges, you get your stuff done. The audience, you too. It's your turn. Tell us what you think of Just Ask. It's an important concept and a beautiful shirt. You can make your selection on polev.com/shirtyscience. And we've got another design for you next up. We have Hamdi Jama from Monash University, who collaborated with artist Janet Parker Smith to create heart disease prevention. Hello to you two. This is going to be, I think, quite a popular shirt. Are you prepared for your brief?
We are.
Alrighty.
All good to go.
Excellent. Good to hear. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
Hi, my name is Janet and I'm an artist.
Hello, my name is Hamdi and I'm a cardiovascular researcher.
The design for me was inspired by Hamdi's research on the importance of fibre in our diet.
So fibre is an important nutrient that serves the millions of bacteria that call our guts home. So these bacteria release tiny molecules that can help produce heart disease. And Janet depicted this relationship with an image of the large intestines linking fibre-rich foods and a healthy heart.
And I also wanted to use some bright colours and nostalgic imagery that would capture the viewer's attention. And from this, I hope that people will see the importance in eating well, especially fibre-rich foods, to have a healthy heart.
So one thing that I learned about Janet's work is that she uses a lot of fragmented and nostalgic imagery to convey meaning and capture attention.
And from the process, I learned about the different types of fibre-rich foods that are important to the heart.
And I think that our super cool shirt design should be Australia's favourite t-shirt because it expresses the concept in an easy to understand way and also uses humour.
You too. Yeah, well done, Hamdi. I'm gonna allow that. I shouldn't, but I will. Good job. Kathy, are you hungry?
Well, I am actually. Look at that, makes you very hungry. But it's hungry, obviously, for really good food and making me think about just the whole thing of what goes in at one end and how it impacts my heart. It's a bit of an eye-opener and a wake-up call, actually. It's pretty amazing. I actually love the intricacy of the heart, and there's a lot of realism in there, but it's brought together quite a range of different things. It's fantastic. I guess I want to ask that question then about what made you choose a particular idea of having the heart linked in to sort of like the I guess the esophagus, is it, or what is it? The bit where the food track goes down.
The intestines.
Yes.
So Hamdi and I had a good conversation. I tried a few different things, and then Hamdi said it'd be great to introduce the intestine into it to carry.
Intestine, that's it. It's been a long day.
So it was that connection between the food, the actual fibrous foods, with the heart, and so that was where the intestine came in.
Oh, it's really inspiring.
Kathy, I agree. It is good. And also I agree it is late, and also squishy biology is hard for physicists. It's entirely fine. You're forgiven. That's why we have our science experts to come and help, right? Okay, team, Anisha, what are you thinking here? Is this really grabbing you?
It definitely is, and I'm pretty sure it will get a lot of questions asked as well. I think one thing I always feel that a lot of people know fiber is good for them, but they don't take it seriously. And I kind of feel, the link between heart and fiber, and I'm hoping, this will get that attention. But yeah, I love the artwork and wanted to know more. I think from Hamdi that when you obviously you would have communicated your work in the past through other ways, and what are you wanting to capture through this image?
So one sort of like statistic that really blew my mind that came out quite recently is that only 6% of adult Australians actually reach their recommended fibre intake. And to me,
A second.
I've got something to say. Yeah, I really love this picture. Like, hopefully they come back on soon. But I think this is just an absolute cracker. I think the best science is simple science, and this really communicates it. It's like it's a clear story here, something that I can follow. And I think, you know, if anyone had this shirt and someone asked them about it, they could communicate it. You got to eat good food because it's important for your gut and your colon, and actually that affects heart health, and I just love it. Yeah.
Becky, is that too literal though, or is this like, because there's definitely some whimsy. I see this. I'm going to try to be an artist for a second.
We're back. I think we got him back.
And we've got you back. Yay, Hamdi! Oh, and so okay, you're not lost. We've got you, but we're going to see about this. The person hidden in the middle here is desaturated, but then they've got a weird head going on. Is this whimsy?
I'd say it's definitely whimsy, and I really love the collage aspect to it. I think it's really different to the rest of the shirts, and I think it's really striking. I think the composition's really, really good, especially in terms of a t-shirt. I think the fact that you used a real heart when you could have absolutely not used a real heart is really, really, you've used all like correct things when you could have made it really stylized, but I actually think it works really beautifully. Like often you can put like a real heart on there and it looks quite gruesome, but that looks really beautiful. So I think it's really successful, and it's really in a way simple and complex at the same time. It's great. I really love it. I think it's incredibly successful.
It's quite the design. I think it's stunning. I just want to check. Hamdi and Janet, do you have us? Yes, perfect. Thank you both so much for coming and pitching. It was a beautiful pitch, even though, Hamdi, you did go a little bit over time, but we'll allow it because you've just given us the most beautiful heart ever. Thank you both. Fingers crossed that you're going to win Australia's favourite science shirt.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is time for you to get voting as well. All you need to do, it's just pollev.com/ShirtyScience. Get on there and make your vote known for heart disease prevention. It's a heck of a shirt. It's stunning to look at. And now we have another shirt to check out. Dr. Carla Eisenberg is a research fellow at Charles Darwin University, and James Giddy is an artist from WA, my hometown, who collaborated to create Turtle Territory. And this one, I think, is going to really excite those people who love their marine creatures. And we're hoping to get them here any second now, hopefully. Come on, Turtle Territory. Yes, here we go. Turtle Territory, welcome team. Lovely to have you here. Are you ready for your 60-second pitch?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, please, 60 seconds on the clock. Take it away.
What do you see when you look at this beautiful northern long-necked turtle? Look carefully. There is more to this cute muppet-faced creature than meets the eye. Long-necked turtles are not only culturally important to First Nation people in the Northern Territory, they are also an important source of iron. Our research found that a tiny piece of meat from a long-necked turtle leg, for example, is the equivalent of 2 kilos of cow meat in iron. In a place where there is a high rate of anemia, freshwater turtles play an important role in the diet of people living remotely.
The design looks to a scene of an Aboriginal woman wading through the marshes, looking for the turtles which are estivating under the surface of the mud. Within the scene, there is also the iron heme structure, indicating the importance of iron in the diet of these remote communities.
Harvesting turtles is very often women's business, and through our research, we create a gateway to engage more local young women in science, merging both Western and First Nation science.
Oh, perfect job. Well done, team. I'm really enjoying this design. Becky, what do you think?
Yeah, I really love the design within the design. I think that's really beautiful and clever, and I think you can see there's definitely 2 different mediums being used. I love the blackness of the turtle and the way that the colour comes through. I think that's really beautiful. And the narrative as well of the 2 kind of stories going on and how they interconnect. I think it's really, really great.
It's like a window through a turtle into the scene where the turtle is being gathered. It's as if you could maybe keep going down that path forever. Yeah. Nij, what do you think about this design?
Yeah, it makes me look closer. It's like, oh, what is that first up? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's a turtle. And then I'm like, oh no, there's another layer to it, and that's cool. It makes me want to learn a bit more. James, I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about the composition behind the Indigenous woman. What influenced that? What you were trying to communicate, and I guess where you got the inspiration for for that, and then also the iron too, actually. I'm keen to know a bit more about that.
Well, as Carla was explaining in our pitch, the harvesting of the turtles is often women's business in the Indigenous communities. Carla would probably better explain this, but that's where that sort of side of the composition came together. So you sort of wanted to just depict the who, what, and where, and also why. So the iron of the turtles, we just wanted to, I guess, bring forward that significance of the communities that are suffering from anemia and how the turtles are that solution.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks.
Anita, how do you feel about eating turtles?
I wouldn't, but what I really like about this image is the composition. So well done, James, and I love the little details of having a molecule in there. I had a question in terms of, and also did not know anything about the amount of iron in there. Like, was it more than 2 kilos of cow meat? Is that right?
Yeah, so if you eat a tiny piece of turtle meat, it's the equivalent in iron of eating 2 kilos of cow meat. And as you know, if you have been anemic, cow meat is the thing that the doctors will suggest because it's high in iron. So in a place that's hard to get sometimes meat, like the turtle, it's important, is to highlight because in the cities we don't need bush meat, but it's still extremely important. And then when we found out that the iron was so high, it really came to life that how important the turtles was. We already knew it was culturally important, but for the health of the community, how important it is that cultural aspect of harvesting turtles. And also, it is not sea turtle; it's freshwater turtles. The life cycle is quite different. They reproduce very quickly, and they can sustain harvest.
Kathy, I think this is really interesting, and it's a great message about how science can reach across the nation, right? I mean, here we're talking about bush tucker. Like, science has something to say about it.
Yeah, I'd really love to understand the biochemistry as to why is it these turtles are able to condense iron in that way so that it's able to be absorbed, because that's actually a huge issue, and it's something which I think in itself is, I've just learned something, it's fascinating. But what I want to understand is how you found out, what was the links in your research that led you to understand I guess it's that Indigenous knowledge that's obviously been passed down for, many millennia. So how did you go about learning the science from our first peoples, and how that then translated into your knowledge and your research, Carla?
Oh, that's a great question, Kathy. So when we were collecting samples for a study we were worried about the quality of the meat because of heavy metals. Every time we talked to the people, every time we went to the communities, they said, doesn't matter what you say, we're still going to keep eating turtles. Turtles are good for us, and they tell stories about when my mom was sick and I ate turtles, she feel better. And then that stayed in my head. And then when we got the table with all the metals, the concentration of the metals, it just jumped out of the table how high the iron was. And then when I started talking to people, I was like, oh, don't worry, iron's not a problem. But then I said, but it might be the solution. And now we are in the early stages of just continuing this research to find more and more. Yes, I'm also really interested to see why do they accumulate so much. And we found that it's not just our turtles, every single turtle we have seen in around the planet that we check for the iron, it's extremely high.
Wow, that's really interesting.
I wonder if that's got to do with, how they navigate with the magnetic field. I wonder if that's anything to do with that too. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah, Oh, well, we're starting brand new science topics right here tonight, everybody. This is great. What a lovely design, and what an interesting insight into the lives of these turtles and how important it's been to Indigenous people. Team, thank you so much. You've done such a great job. Carla and James, well done. Fingers crossed for you. Now, the judges are getting their decisions in. We're almost done, but it's still your turn right now to tell us what you think of turtle territory. You can make your selection on pollev.com/Shirty Science. Remember, it's only up for a short time, so don't delay. And now we are at almost the end, but we've got one more shirt design for you. Last but certainly not least, Oliver Costello is from Bundjalung country and worked alongside tattoo artist Sydney Ferray to create Fire Token. Oliver and Sydney, are you with us this evening? I'm incredibly excited for this particular design because it is, well, I would say striking. Hello, you two. Are you ready for your pitch?
Sure am.
Yeah.
Alrighty, 60 seconds on that clock. Please start now.
Jingala Blagami, hello everyone. Nalina na jagun guna jang Monday Northern Gara Gurumbang Bihang Nangang. We acknowledge country elders past and present. My name's Ollie, I'm a Bundjalung man. I just want to acknowledge the original Wild country where I am here on Bundjalung Nation. I must confess I'm not a scientist, but I have a background in cultural fire and caring for country. And I work a lot to build the recognition of traditional knowledge as an equivalent knowledge to Western science. Over to you, Sydney.
Thank you, Ollie. I'm Sydney, a printmaker and tattooist based in Melbourne. With this design, I wanted to create something that was really modern and takes heavily from my background in tattooing to represent Ollie's research. It references lots of modern trends in tattooing, and I really wanted to create a marriage between old and new, between modern themes and more traditional concepts.
What I shared in the design process is my passion for cultural learning pathways and the critical role of fire in enabling cultural practice and looking after country.
Perfect timing, you mob. Hey, what a design. You can really feel the tattoo artist of it all coming through, can't you? It's just very graphic.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I know I'm not meant to say favourites, and I'm not going to say favourites, but I really, really love it. I really love the minimal colour palette, and I think it's really effective. I think you can see the fire part of it and the background, like it's really distinctive. I really love the different forms you've used to show the two different elements. I think it's really, really good. And yeah, I was wondering what you exchanged between you to sort of get to this point. Was it information? Was it images? Like, yeah.
Ollie,
Yeah,
you go.
There's a bit of both. We have hectic schedules, so it was hard to get together, but basically like shared some stories. Like this bird is, I didn't get to say all the stuff, but this bird is a wee juggler, which is the major Mitchell. So it's a fire totem for the Nampa people. And there's a few other firebirds and that are sort of really significant to my knowledge around fire. So I sort of shared some of the ideas about these different firebirds and also like themes around caring for country, fire and water. So you can see all the beautiful backdrop. And so it's kind of bringing to the holistic story of country. So it's just like sharing ideas, words, pictures, and yeah. Sydney?
I love how the two are kind of opposites, but they work really, really well together. It's like, yeah, the water and fire. I think it's really, really great.
Thank you. If I could also just say, the imagery of the bird is actually references a painting that Ollie supplied me, which is a painting that I believe his sister's good friend did. And so it has a lot of personal significance and connection with Ollie specifically.
Yeah, and I learned something new. I did not know about firebirds, but yeah, I'm always amazed what new things I learn throughout. Yeah,
it's really quite beautiful. Kathy, do you think this is something you'd be wearing down the street?
As a tattoo.
Oh, perhaps we've lost Kathy for a second. Okay, how about you, Nidge? Go.
Yeah, no, I think it's striking. I can see it as a tattoo. I just finished reading Fire Country by Victor Stephenson, and it's an incredible book. I'd recommend it. And it talks about the really detailed really detailed scientific knowledge of Indigenous fire practitioners across Australia. It's beyond anything I think that we're currently aware of in our current paradigms, and I think we can learn a whole bunch more from it going forward. I'd be interested to hear Holly and Sydney's thoughts about the science that was communicated in it. There's such rich science, and I was wondering what has been communicated in that picture.
I think we might be having a little bit of trouble with the connection at the moment. Actually, I'm going to be speaking with Victor later on this week. I know.
Incredible. I saw that. Oh, mate, that's
very, very excited.
It'll change Australia.
I think we should definitely get our votes in here, team. This design definitely speaks for itself. Thank you so much, Oliver and Sydney. Now, audience, it is your turn. What do you think? Fire totem, I mean, it's got to grab you. You can make your selection. Tell us how you want to vote for this shirt at pollev.com/Shirty Science. And team, we are done. All right, so all science shirt designs have been revealed and pitched. And what a phenomenal group of artists and scientists. I am so glad that I'm not involved with this at all. So, judges, you've got to finalise your votes. Maddie's going to come in and take your judging, and Kathy, same for you, except you're doing all of yours digitally for us. So while we wait for all of that, I want to know, how are you feeling? What did tonight bring for you? Actually, Kathy, are you with us?
I am now. Back again.
How has this left you feeling?
The particular bird?
Oh, not that particular bird, because unfortunately we've had to let go of our last two pictures. But just the evening in general, how are you feeling about all of this art?
Look, I am so excited by this. I want the whole collection, and I'm oh dear, this is going to be so hard to decide. I'm glad I'm just one of many judges.
I'm glad it's only 50% for you lot and 50% for the audience. So therefore there can be no concern. It's all very, very fair and democratic. But how important do you think something like this is? I mean, a lot of these scientists would never have had a place to talk about their science so publicly and with people who maybe just wouldn't normally be interested.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things that's really important, is that communication of science really depends on a whole range of different ways. And I think you've got to come in at different levels to really engage and connect with lots of different people. And when you do that, that's when you make those true connections. And bringing this pathway of bringing T-shirts and art and really deep science together is just a whole new way of thinking of what does science mean and how does it mean something and be real for maybe others who it isn't part of their everyday.
I still have a shirt from season 1 of Shirty Science, and I still wear it today, and when people ask me about it, I still tell them what's going on there. Nidge, do you reckon that kind of longevity is even better than perhaps writing a science paper?
Yeah, no, it truly is. And I think that's the beautiful thing about art, is that it provokes conversations and it continues to do so with whatever context it's in. I think that's one lovely thing about this show tonight. Well done, Maddie, for putting it together. Facilitating that conversation between artists and scientists. Don't have it enough. And I reckon science isn't over until it's communicated, and maybe actually science is never over. But that role of communication is so important, and especially communicating beyond the reach of traditional science communication, so beyond academia, to have those conversations with other people. And art like this, I think, can really do that. And I wish we had more of it. I know that there are, ARC Research Council grants that providing a little bit more of a spotlight on the ability to communicate. And I hope more facilitation can be done between artists and scientists. I love it.
Becky, this art is it is communication in itself, as it's a part of its very nature. How do you think our artists stacked up? I mean, they're a talented bunch, right?
Yeah, truly. I loved to see there's so many different styles, which I think is really, really great. And illustrating such a broad range of topics, which I think is really, really interesting as well. And the idea of it being a conversation starter is really good as well. And yeah, I feel so stupid. Like, I'm so deep in my creative world, and now I'm like, I just want to hear all about this research that all these people are doing, you know. And I feel like it does make you really curious, hopefully on both sides of the, you know. And I'm deeply fascinated by the whole process, and I'm so impressed by what everybody put together.
You should never feel stupid, just curious.
Okay,
just
great.
curious, that's all.
Great tip.
If we're asking questions, I mean, there is so much research here. I mean, I consider myself a pretty hardcore science nerd, and there is so much stuff here that I've never heard of at all.
Yep.
Still, some things I can, you know, I have little touch points for, but so much new stuff for me. I think this is pretty incredible. Nisha.
Look, art and science are my two favorite things, and I totally agree. You know, art is such a way of getting the science outside the lab and papers, and this is such a perfect way.
All right, well, I think it is time. We've had our very ethically sourced lab rats doing their thing in the background, and now is the best part about putting science on shirts, so that you get to wear those shirts. Every design you have seen tonight is now available to purchase at shirtyscience.com. So make sure you go have a look, grab one for your mum, your neighbour, your teacher, your favourite weather presenter. I'll take them. Shirty Science, keep disrupting scientific stereotypes. So this year, all profits are being donated to STEM Sisters, an organisation that supports culturally diverse women in STEM. Just buying a shirt not only helps get Aussie research out and about, it also helps support up and coming researchers, which is it's just such an incredible, you cannot go wrong here, people. Now, I have word that we have determined Australia's favourite science shirt, and I would now like to ask the one, the only, Dr. Cathy Foley, Australia's chief scientist, Lord of the Sciences, if you will, to announce our winner.
All right, so very exciting. The winner of the Shirty Science Competition 2022 is Galactic Blooms.
Whoa, well done! Yeah, congratulations, Galactic Blooms. Wow, well done. Please take the stage. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, wow, thank you so much. That was not expected at all. And big commiserations to the other teams. I thought your designs were just so gorgeous, and I can't wait to buy a whole bunch for all my friends and family. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's just been wonderful being part of this, and thank you to the organisers, and we're so thrilled to share our design and to see all the designs of everybody else. Just amazing.
Galactic Blooms, congratulations, Australia's new favourite science shirt. Very well deserved indeed. It's been such a fun night, and it's so good. And there is no need for commiserations. We don't have any losers here. It's only been winners. Well, awesome. There you have it. Australia's favourite science shirt for 2022 has been decided. Now, we would like to start by thanking our judges for their expertise, all of you here on the couch, and of course, Australia's Chief Scientist, Cathy Foley. Thank you so much for joining us digitally tonight. Now, we'd also like to thank you for your expertise, but especially our scientists and artists for theirs, for creating these stunning designs. And also, I'd like to thank you as well for being a part of this event, and National Science Week too for their funding and support. And it's still National Science Week for days to come, and we've got plenty more events on the National Science Week calendar, so make sure you check them out at scienceweek.net.au. Alrighty team, go buy yourself some t-shirts. I think we've had an amazing night. It's been a great success. Till next time, which is actually any time from 6 a.m. tomorrow on the ABC. I'll be there. Good night. Yay! Oh,